Weight training for boxers doesn't need to be as complicated as it's made out to be. It's easy to be confused online as what to do. There's so many videos of different boxers and fighters training and different ways of training, different methods. And then there's always old school boxing coaches telling you that lifting weights makes you slower. Lifting weights, if you do it properly, it doesn't make you slower. I've been lifting alongside boxing for 10 years now, and I was even lucky enough to box as a professional boxer. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about my experience of weightlifting, the mistakes I made so that you can skip them. I'm also going to share with you a basic strength training program that I guarantee will improve your strength and power when you're boxing. So I started lifting weights at 15, I started boxing at 16, and naturally I carried on lifting weights while I was boxing. I had absolutely zero idea what I was doing. Looking back on it, I was just constantly overtrained. And needless to say, I barely won any of my amateur bouts. And I genuinely put that down to the fact that I was overdoing it weight training. And if I'm completely honest, one of the main reasons for my excessive weight training routine was lack of knowledge and the fear going into bouts. If you've ever had a bout, or if you're going into a bout now, you know that you're constantly trying to look for an advantage. You're constantly trying to look for an edge over your opponent. So I decided that my advantage I was going to have was going to be my strength. I was going to be really strong. I was going to be the strongest welterweight out of all the amateurs. I was going to be able to hit the hardest. I was going to be able to be hit the hardest. Basically, I just didn't want to be knocked out in front of my friends and family. And to be fair to me, I got very strong. I could hit very hard, which proved absolutely useless when you're coming up against a kid who's been actually training how to hit someone and not be hit. It took me a long time to find the balance doing weights alongside boxing, and also one of my friends and coaches just begging me to stop weight training as much as I was. One of the issues that I had in 2012 was that I just didn't know where to look for information on how to weight train for boxing. What I'd end up doing is I'd end up going online and downloading like a powerlifting program, or sort of a hybrid between a bodybuilding and powerlifting program, which when I look back on it was completely mental, and no wonder I was completely burnt out. Nowadays on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok, you almost have the opposite, especially when you're watching your favorite fighter and you're watching those behind the scenes mini documentary series of them training for a fight, or you're following them on Instagram, or you're seeing them pop up on YouTube, how they do high altitude training and hill sprints with 20 kg weighted vests on, or they're doing swimming or something like that. I don't know. You almost become like a victim of FOMO. There's like, I want to be doing all these things. I want to be doing what Terence Crawford's doing. I want to be doing what Bivol's doing. I want to be doing what Canelo's doing. Don't have the time to do it. I don't know. I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to structure this in my training. And I have become a victim of this FOMO too. I bought gadgets that I probably didn't need. I've tried programs that I probably didn't need to do. The painful truth at the end of the day is that we have to admit to ourselves, unfortunately, we're not Bivol. We're not Terence Crawford. We're not Canelo Alvarez. We're not Gennady Golovkin. We're not Beterbiev. All these genetic freaks. We aren't at that level in our careers where we can train that much or have the capacity to train that much. And I'm not saying that you can't get there if you're a young fighter watching this and that's your dream to be a world champion. I'm not saying that you can't do that. I'm saying that the likelihood of you being on Terence Crawford's training program right now is probably very slim. But what you are going to need is something simple, something effective and something efficient. That's not going to interfere with your life, your boxing training, your work, your studying, whatever you're doing right now. So after a lot of experience in the weights room and in the ring, I'm going to give you a program that will cover your general strength and power needs for boxing. Having said that, if you're not boxing, this is also going to be a very helpful program for someone who's just generally trying to increase their strength and power. The program is a 2-day-a-week full body training session. So this way you're going to get the highest return for investment for your time in the gym. So all these movements combined over both the days are going to hit all your major movement patterns. So your squats are covered, your horizontal pull is covered, your horizontal push is covered, your vertical push is covered, your vertical pull is covered, and your hinge is covered. And then we've even got some plyometrics and ballistic movements in there too with the jumps. And what we want to do is, because we're trying to increase our strength, we want to aim to lift 80 to 90% of our 1 rep max each time. And if you don't know what your 1 rep max is, just lift that an RPE, so rate of perceived effort, 8 to 9 out of 10. Also, it's worth saying if your energy levels are less than 6 out of 10, you can skip doing the jumps and you can skip doing the throws. The throws and the jumps should be done with maximal intensity. The sets of reps are optional and they're pretty low, and that's because we don't want to be burning ourselves out and depleting ourselves too much for the boxing session. So this could mean going to the gym and literally just warming up and then doing 1 set of 5 on each of the movements. And that might sound a bit silly coming in to do 1 set on each exercise, but if you're cutting weight and you're training 2 days a week, 5 to 6 days a week, that's plenty. You're going to get stimulus out of that. Remember, you're not training in the gym to smash records for weightlifting. You're there for the long game as a fighter. Slowly over time, we'll get stronger. The main focus, and always the focus, should be improving your sport. For this reason, I recommend keeping a journal on your weight and how much weight you're lifting in the gym. Because if you're keeping on top of your macros and you're losing weight gradually, the weight on the bar will most likely go up anyway, or it will stay the same. And if you're losing weight, you're actually pound for pound getting stronger. Having said that as well, if you're cutting weight quite quickly and you're on a big calorie deficit and the weight isn't going up, or you have to drop the weight down a little bit on the barbell, that's also fine. Don't stress about it. The mission is to lose weight and make the weight for the fight. So don't stress about the numbers on the bar. That's secondary. That's not important. As you can see, it's not a very sexy program. It doesn't need to be sexy. It doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to work and not disrupt your boxing training. And if you were like me and lifting at ridiculous frequency and a ridiculous intensity whilst trying to train boxing, this is going to be a very hard program for you to swallow. And if I'm honest as well, one of the reasons why I lifted so much as a teenager was also just out of vanity. I wanted to look good. And sports, especially combat sports, it's really not a fashion runway. You're not there to look good, but looking good isn't going to win you your fights. The benefits of weight training for boxing: you're going to become more athletic, your risk of injury is going to drop, you have an improvement in force production and power production, strength, endurance and speed. But one of the main things that I've noticed with people who do weights and with myself when I was doing weights was that your ability to actually take a punch increases quite a lot. And this is because your whole organism becomes stronger. All of you become stronger. When you start lifting heavy weight, your whole body gets strong. And this is evident when we see really strong fighters like Canelo Alvarez and Triple G, for example. When they fought each other, some of the shots in that fight were just unreal. One of them would get hit. Canelo would get hit with a big shot. Triple G would get hit with a big shot, and the shot just looked like it didn't faze them at all. And of course, the great side effect of lifting weights is that you'll add more muscle mass onto your body and you will look good. So if you're not lifting weights, go and lift weights. You have no excuses. I've just given you a free training program and all the knowledge behind it. So go and get started on it. Take your time. Have an emphasis on good form. I hope that you found this video useful, and good luck with your training.